All
All
right.
right, all right, all
I'm requesting
right.
to join. Send request. Hold on.
Welcome to the well, everybody. There he is,
Welcome,
working for us.
everybody.
Go live with Jomar J. Come on.
Boom.
Here we go. We're in.
We're in.
We're rocking and rolling on our Wednesday at 1.
Welcome, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome to the well. My name is Jomar. The well is a weekly vamp. A vamp is us just sharing thoughts, just vamping, and hopefully the vamps are wisdom bits to help you sustain the journey ahead. My name is Jomar. I am a mental performance and mindset coach. I work with executives and business owners and investors and creatives and athletes on their mindset so that they can, in their pursuit of achievement and greatness, they can do so in a much more freeing and lighter and dynamic way.
Wow. You sound like a cool person. You got a cool job.
Yeah,
That
it's
sounds
pretty
pretty
awesome.
epic.
It's pretty awesome.
That's cool. Hi, guys.
What
My
about you?
name's
Who are
Emily.
you?
Who am I? I'm Emily. Uh, First and foremost, I'm a mom. Second foremost, that's not a way to say it. I consider myself a transformational leader. I provide transformational leadership through powerful conversations via life guidance and business coaching and consulting. And really just, being a person that on a daily basis honors my values and my virtues, try to live from my essence as much as possible, and thus give permission for other people to do the same. That was a
Wow.
new one.
You sound pretty cool as well.
Thanks. We're just two cool people coming to you guys on Wednesdays to bring you the well.
All right. And the
Today's
topic for today, do you remember, Em?
the long, long game, folks, because it's
Yes.
a long, long game. So we want to talk about the long, long game.
The long game. We've heard of the long game, but today we are talking about the long game. So I'll provide some context since I suggested a topic, and then
Okay.
Em, you could vamp. Um, Business. The first 2-3 years, most businesses will fail. Entrepreneurs, solopreneurs.
Thank
That's
God
just
I'm in
the
year 7.
that's that's just the reality of this situation. And so often what I find is when I'm working with my clients and when I'm progressing with my own business, there is a tension in this space around sustaining this business game. And that's the context
For the long, long game.
for the long game. What comes up for you, my friend?
When you suggested this topic, I was a yes right away because I'm usually a yes to anything you ask me to do or say or think of. Or, yeah, I'm usually a full
This is
yes to
true.
you. So what comes to mind was the first thing that came to mind. I think is extremely powerful is perspective, right? And so having, I think we live in a pretty short-sighted culture. You can order food in a matter of minutes. You can swipe for a date in a matter of minutes. You can watch whatever you want on TV at the click of a button. And I think that we've lost practice in the art of designing our life for the long term. And so when you brought up this topic, it brought up for me this idea of being able to keep things in perspective as it relates to the grandiose vision of your entire life and not necessarily the immediate moments that you're living day to day, hour to hour. And aligned with perspective is also this idea of cultivation, right? to be connected to your vision, to be connected to the experiences that you want to have, to be connected with your legacy and what the impact on the world is that you want to have, and giving yourself permission to nurture that, slowly, surely. So really the term meta view comes to mind. How can you step back and continue to be an observer in your life and look at how whatever your current circumstances may be, how they play out into the meta view of like the grandiose story of your entire life, and have some grace in that realm, knowing that like none of this is permanent, this too shall pass, and also that what you build and create can be nurtured and cultivated and happen over a longer period of time.
Love that. I think you're right. We do live in this day and age where everything comes to us quick. Prime, or the Amazon Prime, or the microwave generation. And I think the practice is, again, in the context of business building, the practice is being aware that your short-term goals are just that. They're short-term goals. They're meant for you to, experiment and explore with what progress might look for you short-term. But too often we stay in that perspective. We stay in the, what are my profit margins in the next quarter and the quarter after that, and what was the year-on-year growth. We're measuring our achievement and our progress in this model that's ultimately based in the short term. Mm-hmm. And I think having the practice of constantly zooming out, anchoring into, as you call it, the grandiose vision, but like the long game is really about having an understanding of what it is you're ultimately up to. What is that vision? And this needs to be really unique to you. It needs to be a mission statement, just like any company, any sort of, if you go back to your high school, they have an alma mater, but like it needs to be this mission statement that continues to evolve, but you can come back to, so that when in the short term things aren't going your way, and they won't, you'll need to pivot. You'll need to, continue to experiment. When in the short term things feel like a slog, anchoring back into that long view, that long game, centers you. Kind of, you can come back to like, oh, this is what I'm ultimately playing for. And while things don't look like the way I want them to right now, it's part of it. It's part of the long game. And I'm committed to the long game, and the short term progress or lack thereof is just that. Like, they don't need to be as heavy as they are in the moment.
Mm-hmm. The other thing that comes up for me is, can you lean into that life, the universe, source, energy,
God,
energy beyond, just yourself? Can you stand in that wants the best for you? And that everything that happens, everything that occurs is like this, like you said, this continual pivot to continue to allow yourself to be the fullest expression, to allow yourself to have all of the experiences that you desire or want or will be beneficial for you and your own personal evolution. So like the long game, I think, is also this ability to cultivate that relationship with God, with spirit, and to trust, and then to be able to interact with the circumstances that show up in your life strategically from a place of, how is this serving my highest and greatest good? And if this was occurring to serve only my highest and greatest good, how would I interact with it? What do I do with it? What would my response to it be?
Yeah, and just to ground that a little bit, like what comes up for me is like, I had this client who was up to something audacious. He was trying to raise funds so that he could essentially fund these founders that he's accepted in his accelerator, and he wants to essentially give them money, funds, raise funds so that they can move forward in their business. And in our first 6 months together, he wasn't experiencing any success. Like no money was coming in, no investors were interested, and he got really stuck. And I felt for him. I know what that's like. I know what that's like when you set out to do something and you're strategizing and you're executing and nothing's playing out. And the insight that he experienced was anchoring back to the long game, which was for him, he is passionate about he's passionate about participating in this ongoing evolution of who gets to sort of be an underdog that creates an ecosystem where businesses startups, a tech ecosystem in which businesses and startups can be created that represents underdogs, underrepresented, underestimated founders in that space. So really connecting with that. I mean, and he has different language for him, right? Like I'm communicating it in my own way, but for him communicating or articulating that language, that long game for him, when he says it out loud, when he comes back to it, when he reads it, there's a resonance in his gut that sits there, and then it loosens up a lot of that friction that lives in the moment because you're so trapped in it's not happening. It loosens that stuff up, and you kind of can relax into okay, this doesn't work out. Like there's other things that we can do here.
Mm-hmm. One of your sayings for the year is pause and anchor, and I stole that from you. I adopted that. And that's the same, I think, what you're speaking to, again, from more of a meta level, that
Mm-hmm.
ability to have foresight as it relates to your future and to know that if there might be a bump in the road or a hiccup, can you have the foresight to know how that will perhaps just be something you have to move through, or is there something to stay connected to on the other side of that? Is it serving you in some way? Is it causing you to pivot in some way? But I love that saying, that pause and anchor.
Cool. I have an idea for homework.
All right, let's hear it.
All right. So if you're listening and you're interested in homework,
I'm listening and I'm interested in homework.
the invitation is ask around. Ask like if you're trying to articulate this sort of long game vision of what it is that you're up to, like talk to people that know you the best and literally spend time asking them like, hey, what do you notice lights me up? Mm-hmm. Like, what do you notice that I just by default get excited about? And what is it about that? Is it like, could you tell me more?
Can we do that in real time?
Like
Let's
right
do
now?
it for each other. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Wait,
Okay.
do you want me to do it for you?
Sure. And then I like already when you were saying it, like I have some things for you, and we'll just
Okay,
keep
you
it
tell me
brief.
first. Yeah, you tell
Okay.
me first. Give me 20
The
seconds. Okay.
commitment that you have to your family, the love that you have for your children, the dedication, devotion, and honor that you have for your wife. I know that it is the thing that grounds you, that motivates you, that inspires you, that allows you to show up on the days where maybe you don't feel like showing up. And it's really inspiring.
Thank
I
you.
could go on and on with you probably about a lot, but as you were sharing, that came up for me, and then I had the thought, well, let's just do this in real time.
I love that. And then so for you, thank you for that. So for you, it's this journey into the nature of your own spirituality and how that grounds into your day to day. Like what's expressed out of that, I feel in the past year that I've known you. I mean, I've known you for longer than that, but just your journey in the past year has been that. And there's something really beautiful in there that I think I don't know, I can't wait to see how it's expressed in your work.
That's so cool. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
See how fun that was, guys? So if you're watching, do that with someone close in your life.
All right.
All right, guys. Thanks for being here. We'll be back next Wednesday at 1 for the well. We love you.
Much love, everybody. Bye-bye.
Peace out. Ciao, ciao. Bye-bye.